Welcome to Couples Therapy with ESV. Today's guests are Leroy, a real-ass G with an OnlyFans obsession, and Deborah, a baddie who don't need no man, but is struggling with dieting. And now your host, the Emotional Support Viking.
Welcome to Couples Therapy with ESV. I'm your host, the Emotional Support Viking. On this show, we help couples recultivate connectivity and rekindle the flame of intimacy. Let's get right into it, you two. Deborah, you look unhappy. Tell us what's going on.
I just want to feel hot and desired. All day long, he looks at OnlyFans and then he tells me that he wishes I looked like them.
Yeah, I be trying to smash, but she won't even turn the lights on for a real G. And these bitches be clapping their ass.
You mean they emit sound from their buttocks?
Yeah, but not the nasty kind, the good kind, you feel me? Peep this.
Oh, in the name of Odin.
Yeah.
Can we focus?
Yes. Deborah, let us in. How is this fixation on OnlyFans and the clapping buttocks impacting you emotionally?
Gosh, what haven't I done? I've done keto, carnivore, Nutrisystem, Beachbody, Advocare, Optavia, 21-day fix, and trying to reset my hormones.
Speaking of hormones, this show is brought to you by Slay Hormone Solutions, your completely online solution for hormone deficiency, PCOS, insulin resistance, perimenopause, menopause, hypothyroidism, and PMS. Our medical team of hormone specialists assess your lab work and deliver your personalized hormone protocol directly to your door.
Oh, I'm gonna need to hit them up.
Girl, you ain't insulin resistant, you exercise resistant. But that's all good cause you slim, thick, and that's what daddy like.
So, Leroy, do you find Deborah attractive?
Hell yeah, I always be trying to smash naked, but she be trying to keep all her clothes on. How I'm supposed to get my fuck on in blue jeans? I don't know if we trying to smash or if I'm in a damn Levi's commercial, man.
How do you expect me to feel sexy when the entire time we're being intimate, you're imagining an OnlyFans model?
I don't know, how you expect me to be aroused when I can't even see shit? Like we in Bird Box or something.
Deborah, you mentioned you've tried many diets in many different ways to try and lose weight. Would you say that you tie your self-worth to being a certain size or weight?
Well, yeah, I've tried everything under the sun, and it's like when I turned 35, my body just forgot how to work. I don't even recognize myself anymore. And every single time I go to Google and try to search how to lose weight, I get 100 different answers. What am I supposed to do? Sugar's bad, carbs are bad, fat is bad, air is bad, water is bad, everything's bad, everything's bad.
Hey girl, can you make your ass do that?
That shit's amateur.
Damn.
Deborah, if you could lose 25 plus pounds, get a banging body that you keep forever without having to diet, a body so banging that Leroy here regrets ever disrespecting you, would that be of interest to you?
Yes, ESV, do me. Do me now.
Oh, I've seen this many times before. It's time to call in the big guns.
What's up, ESV?
Mav, my old friend. We've got a classic yo-yo dieter, caught in analysis paralysis, and doesn't even understand what a calorie deficit is.
How confused we talking?
Explain like she's 5.
Got it. I'll do it for my usual rate.
You got it!
Hey, but man, you haven't paid me for the last 2, and they're starting to add up. I have bills to pay. I can't. Let's go.
Calorie deficit explained like you're 5 years old. Your weight loss or gain is solely determined by your energy balance. What is energy balance, you may ask? When it comes to energy balance, you have 2 columns. You have your input column, which is the amount of calories you consume every day. This is how much food you eat every day. You have an output column, which is composed of the amount of energy you expend. You have the amount of food that you eat, measured in calories, so calories consumed, and the amount of energy you expend. Whereas this cup is just made up of the amount of calories you eat. This cup is made up of 4 different categories. We expend energy in 4 ways. Your basal metabolic rate, or BMR for short. This is a very fancy name for how many calories it takes to run your body every day. 70% or more of your calories burned every day comes from this category. It's primarily determined by what your body's composed of, so your muscle tissue. And the more muscle tissue you have, the higher this category will be. I'm telling you that for a reason, you'll see why in a moment. 70% or more of your calories burned every day is determined by your basal metabolic rate. So this is already determined by the time you open your eyes, the vast majority. So what your body's composed of and how much active thyroid hormone you have circulating are primary drivers of basal metabolic rate. The second category is called non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is the amount of calories you burn just moving around. Walking is a big mover here. Beating your husband. Having sexual relations.
Giggity.
Chasing your toddler, playing video games. All the things you do with your body are in this category. So people who are more active burn more calories within this category. It's approximately 15% or more of your total daily energy expenditure. The third category, and 10% or more of your total calories burned every day, is called the thermic effect of food, or TEF. It takes energy to digest food. And when food takes more energy to digest, you burn more calories in this category. Protein has the highest thermic effect of food. The remaining 5%, the last category, is your exercise. This always surprises people because when people think, oh, I need to burn more calories, that means I need to work out more. I need to exercise harder. Those things will help. It makes sense when you zoom out and look at it from a total time perspective. There's 24 hours in a day. Exercise is just 1 or 2 of those hours. So what are you doing the rest of the day? That's what determines the bulk of your energy expenditure. So back to the cups. Calories consumed, you can measure this by tracking your calories, and energy expended. In order to lose weight consistently over the course of time, this cup has to have less liquid than this cup. There's a variety of ways to do that, but basically, if you want to lose weight, you have to average a calorie deficit over time, meaning it's not enough for this cup to be less than this cup just one day. You have to do it consistently. If we're being really honest, most of you probably barely eat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, think you now deserve weight loss because of that, and then you overeat the latter portion of the week, and you're averaging a calorie surplus for the week, which would look like this. This is what the energy balance of the average American looks like. The average caloric intake in the United States is 3,600 calories per day, and the average activity level is less than 2 hours of exercise per week, less than 20 minutes a day on average. And so this right here is the culprit of the obesity epidemic. And usually our calories consumed are filled with processed, non-satiating food, meaning they don't fill you up. Not all calories are the same. 2,000 calories of Panera bread is way different from 2,000 calories of nutrient-dense foods like meats, veggies, whole grains, dairy, fish, fruit. You get the idea. Those foods are going to be more filling than processed foods. So if you want to lose weight consistently, we have to change this ratio. So here is a great strategy for expanding this cup and shrinking this cup. The reason why you want to focus on both is because it will make it easier for you to not just lose the weight, but maintain it. There are 3 primary methods of restricting calories. 1, dieting. Here's what dieting does. You'll notice both cups are really low. Restricting calories from dieting, or just deleting foods from your intake, shrinks the input column. But what about the output column? If you're not consistently expending more energy than you're consuming, you still won't lose weight. This is what a chronic dieter's metabolism also looks like. There's very little energy expenditure because you've lost muscle tissue. You're probably not consuming a lot of protein, and you're probably not moving much. So even if this is really low, your expenditure is low with it. so you don't actually lose weight. We have to increase this expenditure cup, and it's not just from exercise. That's where people get it messed up. Trying to lose weight while barely eating with only exercise looks like this. Good job. There's your spin class. If you really want to expand your output column and consistently lose weight, you have to do a variety of things. You have to eat more protein. Protein is more satiating, so it will also keep this from expanding too much. But let's just say that you increase your protein intake. So although protein does increase your calories a little bit, it also makes you burn more calories from the thermic effect of food. Let's say that you also start tracking your steps and get a weekly total, and every week you increase that weekly total. Now, every single week, your output column is starting to look like this. Now you're starting to see some weight loss. You lose 5 or 10 pounds, etc. But you're not doing anything with your workouts to gain strength. So what that means is if you don't gain muscle tissue and increase your basal metabolic rate, one overindulgence in terms of a cheat meal or dessert or binge does this. And since you're not expending a whole lot of energy in this column, you're way over the amount of calories it takes to maintain your weight. And so 1 or 2 days of this can make you gain body fat because it brings up your average over the course of weeks up too far. The second way to restrict calories is time restricted eating, which again, does this. And so if you're an active person and you're lifting weights and you're eating protein, your expenditure column may be bigger than your input column and you'll lose weight for a little while. But if you're not doing those things and you're not exercising, walking a lot, and getting stronger and eating protein, here's what happens. It's called metabolic adaptation. As you lose weight, you slowly burn less calories at rest. It's a normal part of weight loss. But if you're only using the input column to try and lose weight, you can see why this would be a problem. We have to address this output column. A lot of people get results quickly with things like dieting and fasting, but long term, when they hit a plateau due to metabolic adaptation, there's nowhere to go because you've only addressed the input column and you're not even really sure how many calories that you cut with this method. And so we stagnate until we add steps or we increase the intensity of our workout.
Stay fucking hard!
But if you're not eating, then you don't really feel like working out. Your workouts aren't really impactful. You're not gaining strength because you're not fueling your body. It's a vicious cycle. What we need to do instead, you need to be getting stronger. When you get stronger, it increases your basal metabolic rate. So now we start to see this round the clock. Now you don't have to work so hard. If your expenditure column looks like this because you've taken the time to gain muscle, then you don't have to diet so hard to lose weight. And ideally, it looks like this. Input slightly lower than output. This is ideal. With this type of makeup, you can both lose body fat, have enough energy for your workouts, not be starving, and you can indulge because even if you do eat hyperpalatable, delicious foods, as you should, you're not gonna be in so big of a surplus that it sets you back, or you may even have the wiggle room because you're expending so much energy from your basal metabolic rate. If you wanna lose 25 plus pounds and keep the weight off, here's how I recommend doing it. Take your goal weight in pounds, multiply that by 12, there's your calorie goal. If you're under the height of 5'2", you might want to try current weight in pounds times 10. That tends to be more sustainable for shorter folks. That will give you a calorie deficit. It's based on a goal weight. So that goal weight doesn't have to be your end goal weight. It can be any weight that's lower than the weight that you currently are. So if you have 100 pounds to lose, you can start 25 pounds from where you're at. That's totally fine. Remember, it's based on a goal weight, so it will take you to that goal weight. Then you just recalculate when you get there. If you track your calories, you'll know how much you've reduced this. You can say, oh, well, I've cut 500 calories from my intake. I'm in a 500 calorie deficit. And then when I plateau, all I have to do is subtract 100 calories from that deficit. If you're fasting or you're deleting food groups, it's like throwing darts with your eyes closed. You don't really know what to do when you hit a plateau. It's like, what lever do I pull here? You've got steps, you could eat more protein, but again, if you're not tracking things, you're trying to save money without keeping a budget or knowing where your expenses are going or where like your little Amazon purchases are coming from. It can be really hard to predict, you know, how much money you'll save. So this is just a way of keeping a budget. I'd never recommend anyone track calories long term. This is a tool to gain a skill, the skill of intuitive eating. And you can't intuitively eat until you have measured and weighed how much a portion is for you and see that equate on a plate of food. Oftentimes there's a lot of light bulbs come up when people start tracking calories. They're like, holy shit, I didn't know there were so many calories in this salad dressing or this cooking oil, right? And so it gives you control, it gives you restraint, it gives you knowledge, it gives you awareness of where your calories are coming from, what you need from food, and long term, once you've done that repetitively, just like any other skill, now you don't need it. It's like you need a calculator to do simple math, 2 + 2 when you were in 2nd grade, then you can do it in your head, you no longer needed the calculator. This is how food tracking works. But this little ratio right here is the most sustainable and repeatable. If it's not repeatable, here's what will happen. A lot of people try to do extreme diets. Let's just take keto, for example, and maybe they barely eat and they're over-exercising and their walking step count's really high. This is what it'll look like. Okay, so this will result in weight loss, but like I said, metabolic adaptation will slowly do this. Now you're not losing as fast. You were losing 3 pounds a week, now you're losing 1 pound a week. Uh-oh. Now you're losing ½ a pound, you're starting to freak out. Oh, it's slowing down, I'll just run faster, I'll train harder. Well, cool. And now this is where people plateau and they have no idea why. The goal of weight loss is not to lose weight as fast as possible, is to eat as much as you can while still losing weight, so you can maintain muscle tissue. If you're in a weight loss phase, you still need to be lifting weights. This will keep this expenditure category high because you're maintaining muscle. Cardio is a fine thing to do. It's not the best thing for losing body fat. This right here, energy balance, is what cultivates fat loss. Fat burn just means you're using fat as fuel. The more fat you eat, the more you'll use as fuel. The less fat you eat, the less you'll use as fuel, and the more carbs you'll use for fuel. Whatever fuel source you're using doesn't dictate the amount of net fat lost. So now that we know that a high carb or low fat or low carb or high fat diet isn't superior when calories are equated, you need to choose what is best suited for you to repeat whatever you're doing. You can't maintain that which you can't sustain. I'm not shitting on fasting. I'm also not shitting on diets. I want you to do what helps you look wonderful and feel awesome at 90, not what gets off 30 pounds in 90 days. I don't give a fuck about that. Now, even with all this information, figuring this shit out can be really hard. And I have 2-hour-long videos on my YouTube channel. I've got videos everywhere. I've got a podcast you can check out. Even with all that information, the application part happens between the ears. And oftentimes there's a lot of blind spots that coaching can help you see. That's why I have a coaching program. But if you like this content, let me know in the comments, hit that subscribe button. And if you're curious about starvation mode, AKA what happens when you don't eat enough, check out this video. I'll link it right here. Hope you enjoyed. Mav out.